silent because I made a pact with her that if this was not enough to discourage her from taking her life, then I would honor our agreement and I would just release her. And I was going to talk to somebody else to try and get her. I didn't tell her that. As we walked down the hall, I did not know exactly what to expect. I had not seen Audrey for some time. When we walked in the room, there Audrey was, all twisted, physically deformed. She had no voluntary use of her arms. She couldn't even fan a fly out of her face. She couldn't get up and move around. And we had to get closer to her because her vision was blurred and she can't speak very loudly. And her hearing was somewhat impaired. And as we drew closer to her, I said, Audrey, this is Les. And I have a friend with me named Shirley. How you doing, Audrey? And with what strength she had, she said, better than good. And better than muscle. And Shirley, I know as the tears began to form in her eyes, I know she had to be patient. And here's who the woman is. She's been on her back, a prisoner in her body for 17 years. She can't turn herself. She can't get up and go to the restroom. She said to me, Les, I'd love to be able to get up and walk out of here with you. I'd love to be able to take care of my children, to be a mother to them, to see them graduate from high school. She said, Les, I can't do that. And I'm doing better than good and better than most. Surely it had to be saying within herself, what right do I have to feel sorry for myself? What right do I have to cry out, why me? And she decided and left there with a commitment that she wanted to live with whatever time that she had left, that she had no right to cut the time off. She had no right to do that. And she left there with a new determination, a new spirit about her. And that's something about what we have, that you have. There sometimes your options are frozen. See, Audrey can't walk out of a hospital. She did not have the capacity to take care of her children, but she had a freedom of spirit. And that's what we have, wherever we are, with whatever hand that life has dealt us. We have the freedom of spirit. We can go through life whining and weeping, or we can have the kind of spirit that people will say, hey, there's a blessing to be around that person. The staff at the hospital used to go in her room to be encouraged and inspired by her because she didn't feel sorry for herself. She didn't go through life blaming everybody. I'm reminded of a young guy who was on a bus, a little young fellow, and some kids were picking at him, some bigger guys. They kept on thumping him on the head and hiding their hands. And so he got tired of them doing that. He stood up so he would not be around, out of their reach. And they took him and said, sit down. Set him down. And he stood back up. He said, I don't want to sit down. They said, sit down. They went and they pushed him back down. I don't want to sit down. They said, sit down. And they held him down. He looked at him and he said, you might hold me down, but I'm standing up inside myself. And what we have got to do is know that there's something about you. There's something about us. There's a power in you that regardless of what happens to you, you can stand up inside of yourself. I think that's what the court meant when he says, out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there may be for my unconquerable soul. You have an unconquerable soul. Something that George Bernard Shaw said that I think has some power for us. I'd like to share with you. He said, this is the true joy in life. And one of the things that he said that I love when he talked about man and Superman, he said that we should establish a tribunal where people would be required to come once a year to give a reason why they should be permitted to go on living for the next year. Can you imagine all the do-nothings hopping from one foot to the other trying to give some justification why they should be allowed to live for the next year? Well, what do you do? I drink a little bit, though. contributing to life. I go to work every day. No, are you making a difference in the universe? Why should we allow you to continue to occupy this space? Can I come back to that? This is a true joy in life. The being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. Being a force of nature instead